unit number 2. You survived! So how are you? In this unit, we are going to talk about teaching and learning theories. Our goal is explain, explore, and contrast the range of teaching and learning theories. So let's get started. Can you remember how your teacher motivated you when you learned your first foreign language? Did it work? How do you motivate your students to learn English? Does it work? How can you raise their interest in class? So take a look at the following comic strips and think about it. Off the mark. We have here a father and his daughter, and the two of them, they are talking about in front of a bank, and they're talking about withdrawing the allowance. So the dad is looking at his daughter and he's telling her, I selected Spanish, now see if you can figure out how to withdraw your allowance, motivating your kid to learn a second language. So is it motivating or not? Food for thought. Do you think the way we teach and learn a foreign language has changed somehow? In what ways? Compare now and then. How you have learned it and how you teach your students. Why do we have to know the teaching and learning theories? Are they important? Can we have some benefits from knowing what they are about? So take a look at the lyrics of the song entitled Education by Pearl Jam and compare it to Caruso's painting. Caruso is an Argentine painter, very famous and very young, and he's very peculiar. Why? Because he's famous about his shocking and horror paintings. So after taking some time to think about what they share in common or not, and what are the criticisms about, write your comments in the forum online discussion, okay? Which is called Teaching and Learning Theories. Is there a best method? So here we have the lyrics of the song entitled Education by Pearl Jam. And we can notice that he's questioning his education. So have you ever questioned your education? I mean, especially talking to learning a foreign language. So you can also see the video if you have the link here, and you can compare the lyrics and the video. So the first Caruso's painting is called in Spanish Maleducados. And we have here some students with no brains. So we can observe that they are happy and celebrating. They have a kind of a graduation party, and in the back you can see also a kind of a mention to Pinocchio's story. Why? Because in indirect way they are mentioning, you think that you learn, I kind of teach, and you think that you learn. So we have a kind of an accordance, okay? The second painting by Caruso is called, it's entitled Forgotten. Why forgotten? Because we have the brain left aside, and it's kind of old, and we can also see the cobweb, and it's dirty and rusty, probably, okay? Left aside. And the third painting by Caruso is called Al Maestro con Cariño, that is, to serve with love, And we can notice two peculiar things. The first one, instead of chalks, we have cigarettes. And the second thing, instead of an apple, which is an iconic symbol, no, of the teaching and learning process, we have a grenade. So why do you think this grenade is here? So getting to the point, talking about the theory itself. So let's read to expand our knowledge about teaching and learning theories. We have here two articles. The first one is by Kizzy, Learning Theory and Instructional Design Technology. And the second article is by Tamura, Concepts on the Methodology of Teaching English. First of all, it's interesting to know the difference or to contrast these three elements when we talk about approach, method, and techniques. We have a quote here by Caravas, and which says, different theories about the nature of language and how languages are learned is the approach, imply different ways of teaching language, which is the method, and different methods make use of different kinds of classroom activities, which are the techniques, okay? So you can understand it better. So we have here a chart which contrasts the three of them, the main theories which we can have in this teaching and learning process. So we have behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. Talking about behaviorism, we have the main theorists, Skinner, Pavlov, Thorndike, and Watson. Cognitivism, we have especially Piaget and Vygotsky. Constructivism, we have Dewey, Brunner, Vygotsky, and so on, okay? Talking about the learners, you have to consider that in this behaviorism, the student or the learners are seen as passive. They have to respond to stimuli, and they don't have to think by themselves. They are seen as an empty box. Cognitivism, we have the role of the learners. They have to process, store, and retrieve, and create, and also assimilate information. They have more freedom, okay, to participate in this process. And in the constructivism, the learners have to construct new ideas or concepts based upon their current or past knowledge and social interactions. Motivation affects the construction. And talking about the role of the teachers, behaviorists consider that they design the learning environment. They shape child's behavior for positive or negative reinforcement. If they are right, if they act, react, or say what the teachers want, they have this positive reinforcement. If they have a kind of, if they make a mistake, they have this negative reinforcement. And also the students are assessed through tests. Talking about cognitivism, we have the teachers manage problem solving and structure search activities. They also provide opportunities for students to connect new information to a schema. And the last one, constructivism, teachers focus on making connections between facts and fostering new understanding in students. Encourage students to analyze, interpret, and predict information, and promote extensive dialogue among students. It also emphasizes hands-on problem solving. And if you have to consider key concepts, the first one, behaviorism, It focuses on objectively observable behaviors and discounts mental activities. So positive or negative reinforcement is provided. It's according to Skinner's theory. Talking about classical conditioning by Pavlov, we can also notice alteration in the natural relationship between stimulus and reaction. So cognitivism focuses on the brain, how humans process and store information. We have to consider 3 stages. The first one, sensory register. The second one, short-term memory. And the third and last one, long-term memory and storage. So here, knowledge is seen as the interaction between the individual and the environment, cognitive development and the growth of logical thinking from infancy to adulthood, according to Piaget. Complex functions begin as social interactions between individuals. So gradually, they acquire meaning and are internalized by the learner. Speech and other symbols are first mastered as a form of communication. Zone of proximal development focuses on interactive problem solving according to Vygotsky. And the last one, constructivism, focuses on how learners construct their own meaning. So they ask questions, develop answers, and interact and interpret the environment promotes a more open and open-ended learning experience, where the methods and results of learning are more easily measured and may not be the same for each learner. All knowledge is a human construction. The learner starts with a blank slate. So learning is an internal process that occurs in the mind of the individual. That's why each individual can learn in his rhythm and his own way, okay? So cognitive conflict is essential to the learning process, according to Piaget. Learning constructs new ideas or concepts based upon their current or past knowledge. And learning by discovery through developmental stages, according to Brunner. The community places a central role in this process. So the type and quality of cognitive tools determine the pattern and rate of development. Problem-solving skills of tasks can be placed into 3 categories. Those performed independently by the learner, those cannot be performed even with help, and those that can fall between the 2 extremes, according to Vygotsky. So let's practice, so hands-on. After reflecting upon the teaching and learning theories, write a summary, about 1 or 2 pages, or if you prefer, you can make a video about 2 or 3 minutes. And we can have these questions in mind. Compare and give an example of each theory, the 3 main theories. And in your opinion, and based on the readings, is there a best method or approach? Comment on their advantages and disadvantages. Which method or approach do you use in your classes? And what are the criteria of your choice? So let's review. In this unit, we studied about how the teaching and learning theories differ from each other, why it's important to know about teaching and learning theories, and we have to bear in mind that the way we teach shows us the kind of teacher we are. So we have to choose carefully, okay? And here we have the references for this second unit. And I hope to see you next unit, unit number 3. So goodbye.